Namaskar. Welcome to this session. We have been dealing with Vyaadi, and we came to a point that the precept of Bhagavad Gita, and as amplified by Shri Jnaneshwar Maharaj, is worth taking a look at. So, at the outset, let me tell you, these days, why do we do yoga? These days, we do yoga for our wellness, well being, fitness, health, and to overcome any unhealthy condition or healthlessness, or overcome some diseases and to be disease free. Now, all this is called rogyam. So usually today we are advised, and then we are also impressed with the idea that yoga is for rogyam, that it promises good health. Your good health is ensured. If you get good health, it is ensured. So, good health of body and mind, let us be little broad about it. Both health of body and mind, healthy body, healthy mind. What is healthy body and healthy mind for us? And why do we want health in body and mind these days? One of the mystic poet has said that we are making all health endeavors, health protection, health gaining, health escalation, health augmentation, health reinforcement. All this is for what? The mystic poet says this is to continue our nonsense of life unimpeded, unobstructed, and that too for a long and longer time. Now, why do you want to live healthy? We want to be living healthily for experiencing life, enjoying life, and not deprived of life. And what is life for us? What is mundane life for us? Is to get pleasures, get delights, get happiness, avoid sorrows, mitigate sorrows, and prevent sorrows. And that is our business activity of life. So we are using our health, if at all we have a very good health, we are going to use for, after all, what we do in life. So we want to be continuing what we are doing in the life, and then we want the yoga to come and assist us so that our life dynamics are unobstructed, unimpeded, and in the language of mystic poet, he says, we want to continue the nonsense of life, unimpeded and unobstructed, and then even for a longer period of time. We don't want to be facing the retirement with respect to dynamics of life, and we want to see that it is unobstructed, unimpeded. So why do we want health? To see that our materiality is not compromised, is not discounted, is not obstructed. And that is, in philosophical perspective, is nonsense of life. Whereas in business, the wisdom of the Lord, in the wisdom of the Lord, why is the health sought after? Like shariram adhyam khalu dharma sadhanam. Dharmartha kama mokshanam arogyam moolam uttamam. So to be on the path of nobility, to be in a noble path, to be ourselves noble, to have noble intent and noble aims in life, we must be seeking health. We must protect our health, we must seek our health. In one of the Shanti mantras, that you get in Ganapati Atharva Shirsha. Bhadram karnebhi shrunuyama devaha Bhadram pashyemaksharbiryajatra Sthiraihi angaihi tushtuvagam stanubihi Vyashema devahitam yad ayuhu. This is what is the prayer of Shanti mantra. Let me see all noble things. Bhadram karnebhi shrunuyama devaha Bhadram pashyemaksharbiryajatra. Let me see all that is noble. Let me hear noble. Let me be noble. Let me be in noble path. And let me have sthiraihi angaihi tushtavagam stanubihi. Sthira angas. Let my limbs be firm, steady and strong. Tushtavagam stanubihi. Let my tanu, let my body be tushtavan. Tushtavan means strong. So, strong and healthy. Steady, sturdy, strong and healthy. Why? Vyashema devitam yadayuhu. So that I will spend my life, I will expend my life in servitude of devas, in servitude of gods, in servitude of godly activities. That is why the health is sought. Unlike the condition today, why do we seek health? Why do we want good, strong health? It is to be doing what we are doing and the nonsense of life actually. Business activity of life, mundanity of life. The materiality of life. We want to be in our materiality of life and that's why we want health. But see the noble approach in beseeching good health. There is a beseech for good health. For what? For devahitam yad ayuhu. For me to spend my entire lifespan in devahitam. In my servitude to godly forces. Or even the other quotations which I gave you. Dharma artha kama mokshanam arogyam moolam uttamam. So the arogyam has to be used for dharma. Dharma aviruddha kama. And then also artha. Artha means in the noble path I need resources. So for those resources whatever I would be doing to be in noble path is called the artha here. And then of course moksha. So for that sake the health is beseeched. Or shariram adyam khalu dharma sadhanam. The quotation of Kalidasa. Shariram adyam. Shariram is the body. Is important for khalu dharma sadhanam. For entire dharma sadhana. So noble thought, noble person, noble people will be for dharma sadhana. Their life is dharma sadhana. The whole life is for dharma sadhana. We should be earning dharma. We must be protecting dharma, earning dharma, gaining dharma, gain baggage of dharma. That's the noble life. And for that sake, the health is sought after. Now understand how the Vyaadi will be in counter position when somebody has such a noble mission in life, then Vyaadi would be costing in one way. But for you and me, the Vyaadi would be costing in another way. Because our nonsense will be discounted. As long as we are not well, we will not be able to carry out the nonsense. Because our mission in life to carry out is to carry out the nonsense, gratify the mind, gratify the senses, gratify the tendencies, cajole the tendencies of senses. So if Vyaadi comes up, then we know in what way and how much the Vyaadi costs. But for a noble person, it's a different cost. So point is that we must find something which is countering, ensuring countering the Vyaadi condition. Dhatu rasa karana vaishamyam, disease condition. So when in Bhagavad Gita, where Jnana Vijnana about the life has been mentioned, which I told you in the last session, actuality of life, reality of life, factuality of life, the facts of life, the reals of life, the truths of life, and actuals of life. In life, you have certain things actually there. Some certain things are really there, and certain things are factually there. Certain things are really not there. Certain things are actually not there. Certain things are factually not there. So what is factually in and out? What is really in and out? And what is actually, factually, really in and out? What should be in and out? That is the Jnana Vijnana about life. So, in simple words, he is a Jnani. And therefore, as I commenced, or I was to commence today, I promised to commence in this session as to what Jnaneshwara is telling us about this Vyaadi condition, diseased condition for a Jnani. So he has wonderful passage which comes in the 13th chapter, Kshetra Kshetagnya Vibhaga Yoga. And there he says, this person who has realized the life in true sense of the term, we are all living life, but we do not understand the life in true sense of the term. But he is a Jnani. He knows the life in true sense of the term. He knows that the body is going to have disease, the body is going to have decay, the body is going to become fragile, and the body is going to head towards death. So, therefore, he takes certain precautions. So he has a wonderful, very poetic passage here. The Jnani, because before the ears are going to become weak, we get impaired in our ears, auditory organ, when we are 60, past 60, 70, past 70, 80, past 80, 90, etc. We know that we'll get impeded in our auditory faculty, auditory senses, auditory organ. So, this Jnani says, before my ears give way, let me hear all the Atma Jnana. Let me hear about Atma and Atma Viveka. Let me not postpone it to old age, because usually we postpone Adhyatma Paramartha to old age. Many times we are impaired in our hearing, and then we want to hear. What is the point? So therefore he says, before there is impairment in the ears, let me hear about Atma and Atma Viveka in Satsanga. Let me hear all that is part of Satsanga. Nama Sankirtana, Shravanam is so important. In Ishwar Pradhana you have come across this. And there has to be a lot of Shravanam in Adhyatma. There is much to hear about yoga. What we can do about yoga is very limited, and nobody needs any proof here. All of you experience, when you start doing yoga, you identify your limitation. There is very little that you can do, but there is much that you can hear about, and there is invaluable that you should be hearing in the subject matter of yoga, about yoga. So let me complete my hearing activities sumptuously before my ears give way. As long as my body is in my control, my limbs are functional, my body is under my control, let me do all that is needed to be noble in life, to be practicing nobility in life. In Adhyatma, it is so important to be going for Teertha Yatra. Like today, if you are in a business, if you are in business activity, you want to go to some major metropolitan cities of your country, and if you have international trade, you want to go to metropolitan cities of the world. And that's why people go to metropolitan cities in their countries and tie up with someone and try to have business ties. Or in global business, they want to go to metropolitan cities, the New Yorks and the Londons and the Frankfurts and Tokyos and Sydneys. But for a spiritual seeker, the Teertha Yatra is important. Teertha Kshetra is so important. So let us not postpone it to become old, fragile, strengthless, powerless, rather than having complaining legs and complaining body and then going to Teertha Yatra. When we are fit, let us complete the Teertha Yatra. Today's man, so much soaked and sunk in materiality, postpones these things conveniently to old age. Let me go to Teertha Kshetras when I am old. But whereas if you have Jnana Vijnana, then you will see, you will say, let me go when I am sufficiently physically strong, physically capable. As long as my vision is clear and not impaired, let me look into all Shastras. Let me look into Shastras and look into Shastra Nirnaya. Rather than waiting for years to become powerless and then open out the books like we do, open Gnaneshwari when we are old, with spectacles having almost soda water bottle glasses. So, Gnaneshwar says don't do that. If you want to be on path of a noble path and in nobility, have this intent. Let me look into Shastras, Yoga Shastra, Gita Shastra, Upanishad Shastra, Vedanta Shastra, Dharma Shastra, Upasana Shastra, all those Shastras which are so coveted. Let me look into them. Why? I have good sight. My vision is clear. And I can be reading for a longer time. Say, if you are 20 years of age, you can read a book for 6 hours and 8 hours. But the old man cannot read more than 20 minutes and half an hour. He closes the book because eyes are fatigued, eyes are tired. The brain is also tired. The body is also tired. But young man will be steadfastly reading a book for a longer time. He has power to be doing it. So when I have power and strength in my eyes and my body and the mind and intelligence, etc., let me do all Shastrartha, Shravanam, Shastrartha Vachanam, Shastrartha Mananam, Shastrartha Chintanam, and let me look into Shastra Nirnaya. Not postpone this to senior citizens' age, which usually in our times we are doing it. We keep all these things when we are senior citizens or very senior citizens. That's not right, that's not good. So as long as my speech is clear, let me chant and recite Ishwar Gunanuvada. Let me sing the glory of Ishvara. Let me recite the glory of Ishvara when my speech is clear. What is the point in doing all that when you have lost all your teeth and then your oration is awful? Will you like to hear to old man without having removed the denture, he talks to you. It is awful to hear such a person. So he says, let me do the Ishvara Gunanuvada, Guna Kirtanam, when my speech is clear. Speech is crystal clear, speech is powerful. Then, as long as my hands are strong, in the sense literal and figurative both, let me do all dhana kriyas, let me be doing dhana. Let me not wait for my hands to get paralyzed. How can you do dhana dharma when you can't move your limbs? When you have paraplegia? How can you do dhana dharma? So as long as my arms are strong, hands are strong, the mind behind it is also strong, let me do dhana dharma. Not wait for hands to get paralyzed and then remorse on not being able to do dhana dharma. So why wait to become fragile and weak? Oh, when I am strong in every sense, in every aspect, let me carry out these dharma krutya, all the dharma karma, dharma krutya. Then, whatever wealth I have, let me arrange and manage my wealth properly before I do not do that and then some burglars come and do their job. So let me put my mundanity in order. Let me do all management of mundanity so that I don't have to be giving the mundanity that priority. And then I can be really devoting to adhyatma paramartha. And then I can be detached. Once I have managed my wealth, once I have done proper arrangement with my wealth, I can be really alipta. So all that kind of management that you need in life for your wealth, etc., your possession, etc., it should be all done so that is not on the back of your mind every time that you are trying to do something in the spiritual realm. See, otherwise we are all there to just waste our old age, because these days we are living longer. The longevity has increased compared to what it was 30 years back and 40 years back. The longevity has increased. But we are all wasting our old age. There is nothing to do in old age. We have nothing to do in old age. There is nothing that we can do in old age. There is a blank. And there is also inability, incapacity, and we are just wasting those 20, 30 years. If we live long, 70, 80, 90 years and 100 years, we are really wasting the vardhakya. So, in order that our old age is well managed, we need to do something while you are in our prime age itself. We should not overlook that period of our life and then helplessly, haplessly, hopelessly encounter with old age. Then it really goes waste. And that's why the younger generation refers to these old people as old bums, because they are all really of no use, no productivity, no purpose. And the atma chintana, which usually we postpone to old age, should be done while we are young and powerful. And if we postpone it, then we are older than older people. So he gives beautiful examples. Like the flower has become rotten. What can you extract out of flower? What gratification can you get? When it's a fresh flower, you know how it is pleasing to eyes, its fragrance, etc. But when it is rotten flower, with what avail the flower is useful? So similarly, our old age is going to be becoming like that. Now what do you do with a rotten flower? You show it waste paper basket. It is disposed of. So our old age should not be such thing. We should not become disposables in old age. And in order that we don't become disposables, we need to do something in our prime age. So all that, let it be done. Because old age means you are engulfed by Vyadis, the diseases, you are engulfed by the decay in body forces, decay in mind and senses. So decay and disease is unavoidable. And therefore, we need to do all these things. Basically, he's instructing we people, because usually in our times we postpone these noble things, higher things to old age. Whereas he says it should be done while we are young. Because the Jnana Vijnana will tell us that what is in stores for us. We want to live long, but if we live long, what happens? So there must be some thought process invested into it, and then we will be more wiser people. So he has wonderful passage which one should, those who know vernacular, those who know Marathi, should certainly look into those verses of Jnaneshwari, which is in the 13th chapter, starting from his OV 578 onwards until about 587. Wonderful passage. Those who know Marathi should certainly look into it. It is poetry. So by poetry we understand the essence far better than my Prozac explanation. I recall the 588 OV. And just I will quote that once. Taisechi nana roga pidati na जे पुढा अंग तैव आरोग्याचे उपेग करुनी घाली. So we should know that disease, etc., decay, disease, weakness, fragility, it's all going to engulf us. Therefore, we must take some precaution. We must accomplish certain things. Particularly, paramartha, adhyatma should be accomplished in our prime age, and not as is a habit today that we postpone it to old age. We think Teertha Yatra, etc., is to be done in old age. To be looking into Upanishads and Jnaneshwari, etc., Bhagavad Gita, etc., in old age. No, that's not the thing at all. We should know reality of life, actuality of life, the facts about the life. Then we will take certain precautions. So that was the passage that I wanted to introduce you, because this is Jnaneshwari is a commentary on Bhagavad Gita. So there Bhagavad Gita has a passage which tells about the very our embodiment, our corporeal existence. Janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshanu darshanam. Janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha. What is life? Taking birth, then decay, disease, decay, then death, and then sorrow. This is reality of this body. No body, physical body, is free from birth and death, The body means birth and death. And now, when it is birth and death, between the birth and death, you get disease and decay. Jara Vyaadi. So, on this verse, he is commenting, beautiful commentary, which is really eye opener. And what I want you is to get your eyes opened and not just get some instruction and some kind of input, but it should be eye opener. Therefore, the poetry of Jnaneshwara is exemplary. Now that cannot be translated. So that is why that passage was brought to your notice. Anyway, now proceeding to Vyaadi, coming back to Vyaadi again, Vyaadi has threefold classification in Vishnu Puranam. It is sharirik, manasik kind of diseases. Both. The diseases are sharirik, manasik, but they are threefold. How threefold? Adi bhautika, adhyatmika, adi daivika. So student of yoga, student of philosophy, student of adhyatma, seeker of adhyatma, seeker of paramatma, seeker of yoga must be aware of these concepts. Adi bhautika, adi daivika, adhyatmika, dukkha. And Vishnu Puranam in the fifth ansha of it, fifth part of it, and the fourth adhyaya there. 5.4, 2 and 3 verses. They wonderfully describe this. So, Shiro Roga, Udara Roga, Uro Roga, these are all rogas of our body. Chest disease, abdominal disease, brain disease. So, these are all diseases. Then, fever, jvara. A shula, a kind of pain. Bhagandara, piles and fissures. Edema, swelling. Then asthmatic condition. And various diseases are listed there. They're wonderful kind of jnana vijnana there. Then problems, ophthalmological problems, otological problems, then diarrhea, dysentery, etc. Then various diseases are listed there, which are, where you understand they have reference to body. So there are body diseases, which you can look into book of medicine, and you get the diseases from ulcer to cancer. So all those are diseases in body matter, of body matter, in body matters, in body organs, in body parts. So those are sharirika diseases. Manasika are kama, krodha, bhaya, dvesha, lobha, moha, vishada. Shoka, asuya, avamana, irsha, matsarya. All these are mental diseases. Kama means lust, anger, that is krodha, bhaya, fear, dvesha, aversion, hatred, dislike, lobha, greed, avarice, moha, delusion, infatuation, vishada, sorrow, shoka, again sorrow, kind of sorrow, asuya, that means having envy. So all these mental diseases, that means in simple words, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsaryam, of which you have heard often. So they are manasas tatha, they are manasika. So these are mental diseases according to 6.5.5 in Vishnu Puranam. So they are sharirik manasika. Then these will be also to be seen as Adi Bhautika, Adhyatmika, Adi Daivika. And then, as students of yoga should know about Adi Bhautika Vyaadi, Adi Daivik Vyaadi, Adhyatmika Vyaadi. So it is important to understand this classification. So Vishnu Purana also mentions Adi Bhautika means which are inflicted by animals, dog bite, mosquito bite, or some animate things, worms, animals, birds. From them we get some inflictions. So those are Adi Bhautika. Snake bite, dog bite, mouse bite, and all these definitely create a disease in us. These are generated by bhutas, by the creatures, by bacterias, by some life kind of thing. So also by the ghosts, spirits, vampires. So they are all called Adi Bhautika because we call them bhutas, vampires and ghosts, etc. They are called bhuta, bhuta yoni. So inflicted by some animate things such as insects and worms and bacteria too, ghosts, vampires, etc. So that is 6.5.7 in Vishnu Purana. Then Shita Vatoshna, Varsha, etc., etc. They also create some fever, etc. in us. They are Adi Daivika. And of course, Adhyatmika means from within by way of our own defects in our psyche consciousness, kama, krodhadi. So it is important to understand the Vyaadi from the perspective of Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik, Adhyatmika. So the Vyaadi as an obstacle is so considered in Yoga Shastra. And then we know how much it is antaraya. In whatever form of yoga, whatever level of yoga we are in, we know that it's an obstacle. It is really an impediment. Now what is to be understood here? That this is countered by Ishvara Pranidhana. Otherwise we know that this is all countered by some medicines, some drugs, some tonics. So we think that they only counter. But not to lose the advertence here, that this has come in the topic of Ishvara Pranidhana. And therefore Ishvara Pranidhana can also will work. So it depends upon how much is your bhakti and bhava, what is your relationship between you and your personal deity. And personal deity definitely helps you overcome. Now, in modern pragmatism, we don't look at antidotes in that. We only look at antidotes in allopathy, homeopathy, Ayurveda, Unani, Chinese medicine, this medicine, that medicine. But we should not lose the advertence. Rogarto muchyate rogat. That you can overcome diseases by Ishvara Pranidhana. Now this is the important thing that would be coming in your remedial course that you take against your diseases. And in yoga, you are being told about it. Don't just take recourse to some medicine, some drugs, some pathies. Yes, take recourse to them. But also it is important to take recourse to your faith, belief, dedication, love, devotion for your divinity, for your personal deity. And in all the various stotras of your personal deity, you come across this. You are told about this. As a matter of fact, in classical wisdom, even if you are taking medicine, be that allopathic medicine, homeopathic medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, if you want the medicine to work more effectively on your Vyaadi, aushadham jannavi toyam. So with that mindset it is taken. Sharire jarjari bhute vyadi graste kale bare aushadham jannavi toyam vaidyo narayano hare. So it gives totally different ethos. And today in administration of the medicine, they don't bring in ethos at all. But this certainly works for astic mind. Astikas definitely give credit to this and definitely understand the value of it. See, the medicine really doesn't cure you. Know this for a fact. Medicine doesn't cure you. Medicine that goes in your body, in your system, and the system working on the medicine, that cures your disease. If swallowing medicine could have cured the disease, then even dead body could be freed from a disease. But it is so important that sharira rasa, the body, biochemistry, many times therefore the drugs don't work for some it works wonderfully well, for some it works slowly, for some it works quickly. This is because of your responses to medicine by the organs. So the organs must respond to medicine that is taken. Their response gives you cure and not the medicine itself. So this should be known for fact. Now if you depend upon all those responses, so also your mind. If you are taking medicines with negative mind, even a pragmatic person will tell you that's not the way to take medicine. Be positive. Why do you want to be positive while you take medicine? If the medicine is going to cure you, it should not matter, it should be immaterial whether you are positive or negative in your mind. But that does count. So, divinizing the mind would certainly work. So we divinize the mind while medicine is taken. By this belief, conviction that this is Gangodakam. Aushadham is Gangodakam. Ganga is the holiest of all rivers. Aushadham Jannavi Toyam. Jannavi, Ganga, Toyam, water. So that's how medicine is to be taken by an astika, and it definitely contributes by leaps and bounds. So that's the religious consciousness which comes even while you are taking maybe allopathic medicine, maybe modern medicine, maybe ultra-modern medicine. So this is coming in Ishwar Pranidhan topic. Don't lose sight at it. Don't think that we are deliberating on some pathology of human diseases and then remedies to human diseases. It is basically coming in Ishwar Pranidhanam. So that was Vyaadi as the first obstacle, which is claimed to be countered by Ishwar Pranidhanam, by Patanjali, and by the entire wisdom of the lore. So not to lose this cord with Ishwar Pranidhana, the topic is being continued. Antaraya Bhava is coming in the topic of Ishwar Pranidhanam. Anyway, that should be enough for the day. And here we are closing the topic of Vyaadi. We will proceed to the next Antaraya called Sthana. But that is for next time. Namaskar all of you.